Yeah, Film Vaults! This is the Film Vault. I am Anderson. That is Florence Bruemmer to my straight ahead. We come to you live on tape from my garage. And from Florence's, you at home, Florence? Or are you in the office?
Yeah, I'm at home. This is from my bedroom. I'm hiding out.
Hiding out from who?
The world.
The world. That's nice. I wish I could hide from the world. I guess I try and do that out here where I am right now. But yeah, speaking of hiding out, last I heard, which was about an hour ago, from Mrs. Bishop, Christy Bishop, she was giving me an update on Brian, and he is not hiding from the world. He is relaxing, laying down in a hospital bed and being taken care of by the finest in the world. So he's being treated for all of his symptoms, and he's only been in there for like a day and a half. This is all still very fresh and new as we record this, but all his prognosis is leading towards exactly what you want to hear. So good news on that front.
Awesome. My love to him. Speedy recovery.
That he'll be tweeting out in no time. Probably by the time this airs, he's already been tweeting his sniff-ridden updates and whatnot. So talking about how brave he is and how strong he is. And you know what? I joke around a lot with Brian, but I rarely say this, and I could probably never say it with him in the same room. But like the kid is really, really brave. When we were about to record, right before he got rushed to the hospital, because he almost he was about to do the show with me, and he probably would have if I let him. And the first thing was there was technical issues on his end, so I'm like, I don't know if this is going to work. And then there was real sickness issues, and I realized in our 5-10 minute like FaceTime while we're trying to set up the gear, just how sick he was. As I was looking at him, I'm like, you know what, dude? No one's gonna be upset with you if you're really sick. Because I mean, look, you're very, very sick. I can figure this out. Don't worry about it. And he goes, sure, man. I feel like I'm letting everybody down. I feel like I'm letting you down. I'm like, no. He would have followed through and done the show. And talking to Christy this morning, she was saying that his main doctor, was looking at his labs and said, hey, you got him in here just in time. Doctors love to say that, but still, like if it was like, if they spent another day at home, he probably would have gotten real sick. I mean, there was sepsis on the table. There's all sorts of things. I don't want I want him to talk, be able to talk about his experience, but I was giving an update here. And I realized like there was a chance that like he could have just broken down in the middle of our 2.5-3 hour session if he actually tried to pull through and do a show with me. And I sent Christy a text saying, hey, that would have been the dumbest way to die ever, because he didn't want to go to the hospital. Christy had to put her foot down and threaten to call an ambulance. That's how sick he was. And he was like being a man saying, no. But
if he would have died doing this podcast, you guys would be on the news.
We'd be on the news.
It would be huge. He does not need to risk it with being sick. So I'm glad that Christy made him go to the hospital. And no one, I know the Film Vault family, I know the listeners, they would not, nobody's faulting him. Everybody's wishing for his speedy recovery. We have the most awesome listeners ever. I'm part of the show.
Well, no, you called yourself a listener. You're part of the show. Yeah. Our listeners, Florence, your listeners, my listeners, they are some of the best people. They really, really are.
They are. They
all love movies and empathy and understanding the human experience, right?
Yes. Yes.
It's not a video game podcast where people are just like trying to figure out the best, shooter. I'm not going to sound old by trying to talk about, latest video games. I don't even know. But what was funny was I sent Christy saying that would be the dumbest way to die while podcasting. And she said he would have died while doing something he moderately tolerated. It was very, very funny.
Oh, speaking of that, last week, an attorney that I know passed away. He was in his 70s, so not super young, but he went to court that day. Everyone saw him, and he seemed fine, looked fine. He went home and had a stroke and died like a few days later.
Story. I'm glad you brought it to the table.
Yeah, and my and I was reading like the comments, and people were saying, he died doing what he loved that day. Like he went to court that day, he loved going to court. And I told my kids, I said, if I die in court or right after going to court, I said, you better not say I died doing what I loved. I will
died doing something that society deemed she had to do because of the way things are set up. Hey, thank you very much for making this happen. It's also last minute. I'm trying to get all the Film Vault family involved. I did a show, a Patreon only show with Giovanni yesterday. And then last night, you were part of that. You were on there for a second. Atticus filled in
Was?
for Brian, and we watched the Transformers cartoon, which is one of Brian's favorites of all time. So we did that. I did one with just Logan. I did one with just Avery. I'm going to do another one with just Avery. We're going to do TV Vault, which I think airs. Oh, it already aired as this airs. And then we're going to be rerunning Gil. So there's all sorts of, but we're going to be bringing really, really good movies still and good movie talk. So no interruptions there.
Sure.
And Brian and I will be back the first week of December, I think it is. So, and then also I decided I'm going to bring my mic along with me, and I got some plane movies, like some new movies that I have download links to from the studios. So I'll be reporting on like Tar, I think, and I might just throw up like a file of me, like, giving my take on that beast that is Tar, and maybe some other movies while I'm out of town. So the feed will continue until Brian mends himself. And what else, Florence?
You said you'd be back the first week of December. That's not possible, is it?
Well, I mean, I get back on the 5th. No, December. This is November.
Oh, December. Okay,
yeah.
That's around the corner.
Yeah. So, well, I think I'm recording with him, if all goes well, the day after I get back. So I'm going to be like 7 hours ahead. So I think the show will start at 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning, my time, Icelandic time. So that'll be interesting. That'll be fun.
You will sound wide awake.
Mm-hmm. But I will also have movies to report on, as will Brian, and there's gonna be some good catch up going on. So what I know I got some news and notes here. What's going on? What's happening?
Well, yesterday I'm having such a busy week. I had a Ninth Circuit oral argument yesterday. The court traveled. They generally sit in San Francisco. And I've gone to San Francisco before to argue, but they were in Phoenix yesterday. And it was a 15-minute oral argument that I had spent 2.5 months preparing for, just to be prepared for any questions that came my way. It went well. I felt like I was motivated. I felt like I could answer their questions. It's on YouTube if anybody wants to watch the most boring oral argument.
Sounds awesome.
Ever.
Yeah, send me a link. I'd love to see you in action, and I'll post it.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, all sorts of fun stuff down there in the show notes. As I always say, you can see like our gift givers gift guide from a couple weeks ago if you look at the show notes in that episode. And my new shirt that I designed with Ludwig von Bacon is up there with Cooper Cause Everywhere, and of course the store, the Jillian's Marketplace, the Facebook Marketplace. Place your orders, and we will ship it out as soon as we get back to get it there before Christmas is the plan. And what else? Dinner in America is on Hulu. I keep having to remind everybody of that. And thanks to Eric.
I started it yesterday.
Did you start it? The first 10 minutes is a little different. I was not enjoying the first 10 minutes, but then it finds its groove.
You know what? You prepped me for it, so I was kind of okay with it. I just got to Thanksgiving. Oh, the second meal. I'm at the second meal after Thanksgiving, so I'm working my way through it.
There's a lot of dinners and meals, and
there is.
That's what the title is very apt, as they would say. So we are going to talk about some movies. I don't even know what movies you brought to the table. I'm going to.
Don't know.
Can you talk Barbarian with me though? Because I'm talking Barbarian for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I've oversaturated with Terrifier, but I still haven't really given it a proper Flickfessions. So maybe we'll dip our toes into that a little bit, and then whatever else Florence would like to bring to the table.
I have movies, but yeah, I would love to talk about Barbarian. You said something a couple of weeks ago, and I don't want to misquote you, but do I have it right that you said the first 2/3 of that movie you enjoyed a lot?
Yeah.
Yeah, same. I was so into that movie. I consider it a movie divided into thirds. Mm-hmm. So there's the first third with Bill Skarsgård.
Yeah.
And then the second one with the surprise guy, which I don't. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people know who it is by now.
It's hard to talk about this movie without kind of, maybe at the very end of this episode, we'll just do a spoiler talk on top of what we're doing here, or maybe we'll do a separate file, perhaps, if we have time. I don't think we're gonna have time though, because I got to go pick up the boy in 45 minutes. The schedule is very compressed, as you know. So
I know. If you ever want to end up doing a spoiler alert, just call me and we'll do it really quick. But yeah, the middle I thought had a delightful surprise, someone we don't see very often. And then the third was like meh, I thought.
Yeah.
Kind of meh.
Yeah, and I'm hearing that a lot of people love the end, but they didn't love the first two acts, or the first act especially. They found it boring, which is it's funny because every now and again a movie comes out that really, really does divide people. They love part of it, but not the other part, and like you're the one camp or the other because this is almost two movies in one. And let's do a little setup. I'll give a little setup so we can do an appropriate
Sure.
actual Flickfession here. So this is written and directed by Zach Kreger, is the guy's name, and he's done other things such as Wrecked and The White Kid You Know, which is a very popular show that from 2007 to 2011. He was actually in that, and I guess he was in talking to Gio yesterday. He's trying to run from some other rom-com that his name was associated with, so he's definitely trying to go hard the other way with this one. It stars. I feel like we're far enough down that we can actually talk about the fact that Bill Skarsgård, Georgina Campbell, as well as Justin Long is in this. He's even in the trailer if you're on IMDb. Like you just
okay. All right, let's talk about him.
but we got to see it without knowing that he's in it, and it was really, really fun to just like at the almost exactly halfway through the movie. It just takes a hard left turn, and we're in a different location and with a completely different type of character. So it opens up with a woman who is showing up to an Airbnb, which pretty much we can all relate to. We've all been to an Airbnb in a weird place we've never been to. She gets there after dark, so she doesn't even know what neighborhood she's really in, and it's pouring rain. And then she goes up, and the code's not working, and she's calling the host of the Airbnb, and then she realizes somebody's in the house, and that somebody is Bill Skarsgård, who comes to the door, and he's your typically cast like white middle, like late 30s type of guy who might be up to no good, right? So you're not trusting him at all, right?
Yeah, he has this combo of handsome and charming, but creepy also.
Ted Bundy vibe a little bit.
Yeah, very much so.
And he invites her in, and she's real skeptical, but it's like she's not sure where she is. And this whole thing could have been avoided if she just said, you know what? Fuck it, I'm gonna get in my car and go to another town over or something. She chose not to do that, which bit of a plot hole, I guess, but I don't want to pick too many nicks here. Pick too many nicks.
Well, she was young, and I think I think they tried to address that, which was she had already, like, her money was tied up already in this Airbnb. It didn't seem like she really had money to go to a hotel. So I think they tried to address that, and I can understand that, as a younger person, and like knowing my daughters and my nieces, if they went to an Airbnb and this whole thing happened, I think they would, well, my daughters would call me and I would be putting the credit card down. But if they couldn't get a hold of me, I think they would have a hard choice of whether they were just going to stay, and because of like the financial side of it. So I could understand that.
What about like a weird, creepy? He wasn't really creepy, but he was almost too nice and too over the top to be trusted type thing. Like you, as an audience, that he's up to something, right? And I think that she kind of felt the exact same way. The character.
Well, yeah, she felt it that way because she's a single woman on her own. But then he did enough to make her comfortable, and he was he gallantly offered to take the couch. And so I think she became comfortable enough, and they set that up really well, I thought. I tried to put myself in her shoes, and I was like, maybe at that age, I might have stayed as well. Not like the smartest decision, but they did a good job of, like, at least initially making sure that there was a plausible reason why she could stay.
Yes, they did. I wasn't being fair, and like he also explains to her that she's not gonna be able to find a hotel anywhere because there's a convention in town, and so they took care of the writing angle to an extent. I still think she might have, in that situation, before passing over the threshold, decided to turn back, get in her car, and maybe even sleep in her car and lock the doors, or that's what I would have done as a young woman who felt in peril. But I'm not a young woman, so who knows if that's accurate. But by the way, I'm smoking because I'm really stupid. And when all this stuff went down with Brian a couple nights ago, I kept fighting the urge to go out and buy my first pack in like months. And I decided to go. You find out your friend's really, really sick and might be dying, so you go out and you start killing yourself. It's really stupid. but that's the way the addict mind works. So she's in the house, and then it kind of becomes like this psychological thriller as to, like, what's he up to? How is she interpreting? Is she missing anything? And you're really paying close attention. And I thought it was really well directed, and I was completely invested in her situation. As
Yes,
small as
me
the
too.
stakes were in a grand scheme, it's definitely got that whole like male threat thing, and it's about rape, and ultimately this whole movie is about rape. I would love to hear your point of view on that without giving everything away, because I've decided what we're going to do here, Florence, is you're going to throw to one of your other segments, which is a red light, green light, and then we'll have enough time to do a proper spoiler only for Patreon on this movie, Barbarian.
All right.
So what? No, but not right now. We're going to do that.
Okay.
Which, yeah. So how did you interpret it? Is that fair? Is that accurate? That's definitely what Gio was picking up when we talked about it a little bit.
Honestly, I don't even think that was at the end. I mean, it's the theme, but I didn't pick up on that. Like, that's like the whole theme of this movie. It just, well, gosh, now that you're saying it, I'm thinking about the second part with Justin Long and everything that happened with him. You know what? I guess so.
Yeah, because we learn right straight away with Justin Long. He's a Hollywood producer type who's working on a TV show, and he's just kind of one of these guys that moved out to Hollywood to make it, and he did because he's got such an ego, and he just pushes forward, whether in business or in the bedroom, it turns out. And we learn that he's getting accused of something. He's getting canceled for very serious accusations, and then it kind of takes off from there. And I want to leave it there because there's so much discovery in this movie, for lack of a better term. It really was fun kind of peeling back the onion and seeing each progression be completely new and different. And it all starts with with Bill Skarsgård in the Airbnb, and then we learn about the bucket, the bed, and the camera, and that becomes a whole different vibe and a different thing and a different set, and it keeps going and going. And it's not supernatural; it's natural, but unnatural. It's not supernatural; it's unnatural where it all ends up. However, without talking about the end, my problem with the end, and I would love to hear your take on it as a horror fan, is it asked me to take a very, very high and long leap, and I wasn't able to land at all. I was kind of floating around going, this is just such horse shit and BS.
Yes, it felt a little bit lazy to me at the end because I was so excited about the first part and the second part that when it took the shift in the third part, it became a bummer to me. Like, I didn't care. It became more of a gross out when it felt like it was more like a psychological thriller in the beginning. And then in the middle, it had, like with Justin Long, even though he was that swarmy actor, rapist guy, it also had humor in it. And then the end.
A lot of really good humor.
Yeah.
There was a lot of really good humor. And then the end, it felt to me like the filmmakers and the director and writer in particular just started having too much fun, right? Didn't really fit for me. Now, I've talked to people who say that it totally did fit and it was fantastic and it worked for them. But
yes, tons of people love the end. The group that I saw it with, it was my daughters, and we all felt the same about the end. Although we did, you mentioned the bucket, the camera, and the bed. Our favorite part of the third part was the videotapes and the videotape labels and how they were labeled.
Send me an email about this. This is very funny.
So we've been calling ourselves these videotape labels, and I am girl who asks for a magazine because I can't stand to be somewhere where I don't have something to read. So that would be like something I would be asking for. My daughter would be the girl who has nonstop stomach aches. Like, we've been doing it ever since we saw this movie.
I think we're still tiptoeing around it enough that we're for anyone who hasn't seen it, there might be enough intrigue there to get them to take the leap, which you're going to be asked to do with this one for sure. But it's a really good horror film from my point of view. Because as somebody who doesn't love horror, I really enjoyed. And you know what they did? Now that I'm talking more out loud about it with somebody, is they did maybe. Are there like 3 different types of horror? What would you say? Like, How many different like real types of horror are there?
Oh gosh. I mean, I guess there's slasher, there's supernatural, maybe even a subcategory of supernatural is haunted houses. There's like torture porn and gore. So I don't know. I think there's probably three with maybe like little subcategories of those
Yeah,
three.
because I'm thinking I know they nailed psychological, right?
Mhm.
Thriller, psychological thriller, and maybe the middle's thriller, and then it goes to more slasher at the end.
Or even gore, even more like a torture porn in a way.
But there are like
Um,
multiple. A lot of the time, these horror films are one thing or the other, and this one seems to kind of divert and dip into different genres
yeah.
within the horror genre.
I left being disappointed, but I will admit that it's a movie that I've thought about quite a bit. And now that it's on HBO Max, I'll probably revisit it and see how I feel about the ending again.
I can tell you this: that throughout the year, this year, Barbarian is by far and away the winner as far as listeners begging me to watch it. I got so
Mhm.
many nudges and emails from multiple listeners, and usually that's a great sign. And once I watch it, I mean the same thing was happening with some of my inner circle with Dinner America, who saw that like years ago at festivals. They're like, oh, Anderson, you're gonna absolutely love this movie, and I'm like, I'll get to it. And I had a file of it. I think you remember that
Mhm.
Dinner in America, but they didn't have a U.S. distributor, so I didn't want to watch it and love it, and then not be able to recommend it to people because they couldn't see
Mhm.
it. But yeah, I got a lot of that from this one. It wasn't as good as usually they are when this many people are recommending them. And it's funny with movies and structures and the way that they're put together. Like for you and I, if it started off with a like one of the if the first act was one that we didn't love, but we stuck with it, and then it progressed and then got really good, and then the last act was our favorite part, we would love this movie, right?
Yes.
But because it
Mhm.
ends with that, it leaves a bad taste in your mouth as you're, shutting it down. And
Right.
you saw it in the theater, right?
I did.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's the best way. The best way. All right. What else have you seen, Florence? Before we take
Sure.
a quick break.
So I saw the movie Smile. It's a
Mm,
2002 movie directed by Parker Finn.
mhm.
It stars Sosie Bacon, who is Kevin Bacon and Kira Sedgwick's daughter. I saw it twice at the movies, and
You hated it.
um, she felt very familiar to me. I didn't realize it was their daughter till the end,
Mhm.
but she has his nose exactly, and she's adorable. Like she was really good in this movie. She really sells her part. She unravels in the movie. She does that well. Kyle Gallner is in it,
Yes.
who was the goth kid in Jennifer's Body and also
Right.
in Dinner in America. Have
Mhm.
you mentioned that he was in Dinner in America? I
Yeah,
don't
yeah. We
feel
talked about it
okay.
in
When
our
you were
review of it.
watching Jennifer's Body, I didn't remember you mentioning that. But anyways, Jesse Usher, who is A Train in The Boys, is in it. It had great jump scares. It made tingles go up and down my spine. It was sort of familiar to It Follows, but without the super unsexy sex that It Follows has. I
Well, that was
think
the
it,
whole point of It Follows. To be fair to It Follows, it was like a euphemism for STDs.
yeah, it was. But the sex was always terrible looking.
Yeah.
At least, like, why
What?
wasn't there any good
Enjoy
sex?
getting your STD is what you're saying?
Yes. In that movie alone, and It Follows, you could have a top five worst sex scenes just in that movie.
I don't know if I'd want to do the research for that. Be a fun episode though. That's not a bad category. Top 5
Yeah?
worst sections. Yeah.
Oh,
Hmm.
well, good. Maybe think about it.
Mhm.
I felt like this movie could have used an after credit scene that it could have been very fun, but it didn't have one. It ended. But overall a good watch. It's still at the movies, but it's also on Paramount now. So if anyone's not wanting to spend the money to go to the movies, they can catch it on Paramount.
All right. And what is like the premise? It's just like what you saw in the trailer,
Oh,
like
sure.
people are
So
smiling and
she is a psychologist. In the very first 5 minutes of the movie, it starts out like just hard. It like brings it hard. She's a psychologist. She's meeting with someone who's brought into the hospital who's having um, a breakdown. And the girl is saying, "You don't get it. This isn't a breakdown. Everywhere I go, there's something. Sometimes it looks like someone I know." So this is like very It Follows. Sometimes it looks like someone I know, sometimes it doesn't, and it's smiling. It's smiling all the time. And then the girl starts smiling, the one who's having the breakdown, and then this is where the Sosie Bacon character, she kind of picks up whatever is happening. And so it's very, to the rest of the world, you're having a psychological breakdown. But to you, you are being haunted. And it just was done really, really well. I really liked it.
That's
And
a
you
premise.
never knew when they were going to spring it on you that it was the haunted character, because it could kind of be whoever, whenever, all the time. And there was some really good scenes where they set that up.
Yeah, I love that kind of mystery, but I don't love the jump scares. And I don't like when especially when everything's quiet and I know that something's about to like come try and give me a
Mhm.
heart attack. I hate that sensation. I just finished All Quiet on the Western Front, which I'll probably get to next week on this feed. And there's so many quiet moments in that movie, especially in the last act, that are just I was actually yelling, trying to like try to get rid of some of the silence, because I hate that sensation, trying to like lessen the scare tactic that I knew was coming. But yeah, Atticus saw the trailer for this one by mistake. I kept saying look away because I was trying to get the remote, and like the trailer came up on something on the YouTube that we were both watching, and he saw the part where the girl's head at the car comes down. You can hear that
Oh,
horrible.
they put that in the trailer? How
Yeah,
disappointing. I avoided the trailer because
yeah.
I try to avoid trailers in scary movies. That was like an amazing part in the movie.
Oh, well,
So
I just ruined it for other people like you. I'm sorry. Atticus is hockey water here. I'm drinking. All right. Well, hey, you know what? Let's take a quick break. I'm not going to use any music in here because I'm lazy and I got so much stuff going on. But I'm gonna talk about feels for a minute, and then we're gonna come back and do the rest before we throw to you, which is gonna be a weird one. We're gonna no, not that one. I'm sorry. I'm opening this. I should probably cut some of this, but I'm not going to. All right. So we'll be right back. Florence, did you know that Feels is still a part of the program, and they have been a part of the program for a long time? Because obviously our listeners are heeding our advice, which is give some CBD a shot. Not only give some CBD a shot, but give this particular CBD a shot, because there's all sorts of different types of vibes and CBD oil out there, as you might imagine. And Feels is the one that I've tried different CBDs in the past before Feels came along, and Feels came along a while ago, and then they came back to us. And Brian and I have both been using Feels for years now. My first onboarding call with them was like years ago, like 2-3 years ago, and I have had Feels ever since then. And I lean on it when I'm feeling stressed, or when I'm just feel like I've been using it a lot this week because I got so much going on. And the way Avery put it was, it feels like you just meditated, even if you haven't just meditated. It's like for those people who don't have time to meditate, Feels will you pop like a little tincture under your tongue, or take a mint, and you feel like you just meditated about 10 minutes later, which is very, very nice. It's like a free lunch, is the way Avery put it. So if you would like to take the leap, have you ever tried CBD of any kind,
I
Florence?
haven't, and
No?
I think I want to now. It sounds like a delicious feeling
Mhm.
to be relaxed like that, and I would like to try that. And I know Feels has been a longtime sponsor and has been very supportive of the program, and I would like to support them.
Yeah. Next time we do a show, I will make you take a mint at the very least, and then I think you'll see what I'm talking about. It's great to pop one too. Like if you're at the end of the day and you're just gonna want to lay in bed and watch a movie or something, it's this really great feeling of relaxing and focusing. I am able to focus better and relax at the same time, which is a sensational feeling. So if you would like to start feeling better with Feels, become a member today by going to feels.com/TFV, and you'll get 50% off your first order with free shipping. That's FEALS.com/TFV to become a member and get 50% automatically taken off your first order with free shipping. Feels.com/TFV. All right. And we're back. Hi.
Hi.
So it just occurred to me that I have not talked Terrifier on this program, Terrifier 2, that is. I did the first one, but I have not talked about the second one with anyone other than Giovanni, but that was on the Patreon feed. So have you, I don't think you're going to like this, because I don't think it is your style
Hmm.
of horror.
I am going to watch it because you said that there was a lot of comedy in it, and I have been very intrigued. It's on my list of next things to watch. I just haven't gotten to it. I'm not even sure where it's streaming. I think I looked and it was streaming on, I don't remember. Maybe like Roku with like commercials.
It wasn't Roku. It's something. Somebody sent me a. It's streaming somewhere where you can sign up for like a 7-day. It was a platform I had not heard of, at least right now.
Oh, okay.
But it might be. It's going to show up on Shudder or one of those. I would imagine for sure. But what I'm hearing a lot, I'm really curious to get your take, and I want you to watch the first one. I don't want you to watch the second one first,
Sure.
for obvious purposes. Plus, the second one goes a lot harder than the first one. And I'm hearing this over and over again. I just heard it from Giovanni.
Oh my God, I'm sorry.
You're okay. Cough it up. I can mute you if you need to. Oh, geez. I'll mute you. I'll mute you good. But yeah, Giovanni was saying that, people who like horror fans hate this movie. Like true horror fans are not liking this movie because it does everything that horror fans hate, which I don't understand what that is. But there's not a whole lot of jump scares. There's a couple, but they don't lean on jump scares, which makes me like it. I think I might have been telling you about in my review of the first one, which is Art the Clown, which is where all the comedy comes from for the most part. He doesn't lurk and tiptoe around. Like he's just there. He wears these giant, ridiculous clown shoes. He's a mime. And the makeup is really good and it's very particular. It's very easy to, wear this costume, which we're going to be seeing, I think, next year. I keep saying that. And this is like the advent of a new, like, iconic horror character, which doesn't come. I mean, when was the last time we had an iconic horror character come on the scene? I think it might be Jigsaw or
maybe that might be the most recent one.
Jigsaw came after Ghostface, right? They're pretty close.
Jigsaw did come after Ghostface,
but not by. I don't think there's been one since. We've been stuck with Leatherface, Michael Myers, Jason, of course.
Pearl. I'm putting Pearl in.
She's not a slasher like icon. I mean, she's a great,
she's a great
character,
slasher
but she's
icon.
not a slasher icon. I don't think you're not going to go to like the. I chalk it up to like the Halloween Spirit Shop. You're not going to go to Halloween Spirit Shop and see costumes like on full display at the entrance for Pearl. I don't.
I disagree. I think it would be a great one. You could be the young Pearl, or you could be the old Pearl.
It'd be a lot of explaining what your costume is all night.
Probably.
Yeah. So Art the Clown, there's no explanation for why he does his evil deeds. It's just one of those things that he's just an evil fella. And sorry for those of you who heard Gio and I talking about this, because it's going to be probably a lot of the same. But there is definitely commentary on there, which I appreciated with the. Oh, geez, what's my camera doing? What's it doing? Whatever. You can hear me at least.
I can hear you.
Probably. I'll switch over to manual. So, there, I'm back. So it is interesting how, and you've noticed this in your lifetime. I'm sure that the farther down the road we get with Halloween, each Halloween seems to have more and more gore and just horrificness around every corner. Like in spirit shops, in supermarkets, and CVS's, on people's front lawns. It's just like the kind of stuff that if I was a little kid and I was walking around Halloween today, like I would be petrified. I really would be. They're just rotting corpses, like it's everywhere, and it's kind of conditioning kids, I think, to an extent. I don't know if it's bad or what, to not be like afraid of these things. And they're definitely commenting on that with both the Terrifiers, especially the Terrifier 2, because they take place on Halloween night, and there's little kids that get involved sometimes and come across some of these atrocities that Art the Clown has been responsible for, and he's right there front and center for some of them, laughing and enjoying himself while he hands out candy to the kids right after he just beheaded one of his victims, and they're just taking the candy out of the victim's head, the beheaded head, and they're like, "Ooh, this is cool, it looks good," So there's that, and then the lead heroine in the second one, she's really, really good, and it's not the same kind of comedy as Psycho Gorman, but it doesn't take itself too seriously. You never feel like you got to take a shower. As gross as it is, it gets really, really gross just for the sake of being gross, because you can tell they're having fun. The writer director also had makeup, I think, and the best part of Terrifier 2, and I really wasn't. I was prepared for it to just be like one of the grossest things I've ever seen, and what is it? Human Centipede 2 is still like has it like beat like tenfold to me.
I was actually going to ask that same exact thing. Like, how do you rate it compared to a Human Centipede?
Human Centipede 2 is black and white, and there's just so much the stuff that I find just disgusting, and there's like newborn babies that are crushed. And I mean, it's just, but it's doing it for like darker laughs, which sounds weird because Terrifier is definitely dark humor, but it's so kitschy and it's so campy that you can never take it seriously and be like, feel like, ick. He does really horrible things to people, but it's done with practical effects for the most part. And it's just, I love his punk rock ethos, and I love this Art the Clown. He makes it or breaks it. So if you like Art the Clown and you can put up with some grossness, I think you'll like it. And what I was about to say is the best part of Terrifier 2 is he now has a sidekick who shows up, and she's like a little girl who dresses the same as him and is also a mime and silent. And she is fucking batty, and she brings a lot of the humor as well. So it's not like laugh out loud humor throughout like Psycho Gorman was. But it's definitely kind of tickles my same funny bone. So that's a Terrifier 2.
All right. So I just want to comment on the movie Weird before I Flickfest another movie. I just wanted to say I agree with you. People need to go see this immediately. I want to nominate, I don't know how I can do it because I'm not anybody, but I think Daniel Radcliffe should be nominated for an Oscar. I had so much fun watching this movie.
Crazy person.
I had tons of belly laughs. I love the ending. For the whole week, I've been saying Madonna Ciccone is still at large. Like I just keep saying it to myself. And I couldn't stop laughing with the party, with Wolfman Jack and Divine and the bass player from Queen. Like it just was hilarious. So go see that. But you guys did Flickfest it, so I didn't want to do that. I don't
think we did. I kind of gave it a because Brian still hadn't seen it, and I finally got to talk about it. We can a little bit. I talked about it with Mike Carano last week a little bit on the show. So, but yeah, the pool scene is just like something to behold. The amount of cameos that they have in there with everyone from Yorma to you had Wolfman Jack was played by Jack Black, and you got Conan O'Brien playing Andy Warhol. It's fantastic. And I've been yelling hard pass on everything. Like, hey, you want to go to the zoo? Hard pass at it. Because he was like Daniel Radcliffe as Weird Al Yankovic was passing on a lot of things throughout this movie. He was too big for most all things. But yeah, it's just delightful. This one too, much like Barbarian, though, it didn't have the ending it deserved. I felt like it could have had a stronger ending. And I think since I've seen UHF now, after having seen Weird, the 1989 Weird Al Yankovic movie, I covered that one for Cinematics just last week. That one ends with a Rambo parody, and I think maybe they were trying to tap into that and pay homage.
Okay.
Because it's similar, right? Definitely a jungle warfare.
Yes.
But the end is just so goofy, and you got to remember the whole movie is goofy, so it fits the vibe and the feel. But it's just it should have been goofy. I would have I don't know. The end have you just feeling a little bit like, that's it?
No, I liked it. And did you stick around for the song that went over the credits?
Can't remember. It's been like 9 years.
It's basically a song about the credits, and I almost shut it off because it was the credits, and then I'm like, wait, what is this song? And it has so many funny lines in it, and it's just singing a song over the credits. Like doesn't sound funny, but it is funny.
That's how am I going to get to that? Because it's on Roku. I got to fast forward through a bunch of commercials and stuff to get to the end.
Yeah.
Interesting. What if you want to watch the end credits of a movie on Roku? How do you do that?
I don't. Maybe you can just find it on YouTube. Maybe someone posted it.
I would imagine. Yeah, probably. All right. Well, hey. Do you want to throw to your episode now? I can tell you which, not episode, but your red light, green light that you did with us.
Yeah, I can.
All right. We are going to be doing heartfelt moments, I think was your category.
Okay.
I had it up here a second ago, but then I lost it with, here we go. I'll tell you right now. Yeah. Heartwarming love movies. I feel like this episode needs a little bit of that, Florence, because as lovely as you are, we've been talking a lot about horror until Weird just now. So why don't we throw a curveball? And why don't you throw to your segment?
Sure. So Brian is joining us from the hospital for Red Light, Green Light, and it's heartfelt moments and romance. I hope you like it.
Let's welcome back to the show once again our favorite, Florence Bruemmer. How are you?
I'm great. How are you guys?
Good. Thank you for coming to join us.
Thank you for having me.
Pleasure as always. Florence is a regular here. She brings us Red Light, Green Light. That is a segment where Florence brings us movies that have not yet come out. They are in development. They've been announced. They're coming out someday. Perhaps we will decide if they should be red lit, green lit, or the dreaded black lit.
I didn't like that person who is pitching that movie, not Florence, but whoever the movie is.
Who's involved?
Yes, and should all that be ushered out of Hollywood.
Okay. Florence,
Right.
you theme your list, which is fantastic. What do we have today?
This theme is heartwarming and love.
Green doll.
Yay.
Just start writing some sad faces on the paper for me right now.
The first movie is called You People. It's in post-production. It's supposed to come out in 2023. It follows a new couple and their families who find themselves examining modern love and family dynamics amidst clashing cultures, expectations, and generation differences. The director is Kenya Barris. He worked on Blackish and Girls Trip.
Oh, boy.
And it stars Nia Long, Eddie Murphy, Jonah Hill, Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
The tone is right here. It could really work. It could be
Yes.
good. It's a tricky line that they're walking
sounds
here.
schmaltzy.
It sounds schmaltzy. It sounds on the nose. It sounds preachy. And it sounds enraging, honestly.
Are we racist if we red light this?
No, I
Or
don't think so at all.
black light it?
Also, I think that we're probably in the year 2023 as this is released, perhaps. So,
I don't have a month. Oh, sorry. It didn't have one.
So it's coming out this year, probably is
Okay.
what, or maybe I don't know. This might I don't know how this is going to
Who
schedule
knows?
out. I don't know. Who knows? Yeah, we can only
I like how Florence does it. She does the schedule for a 2023 release.
Okay. Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
I thought it might be a little bit like Parenthood, which was very heartwarming. So what do you think? That's just my own take on it.
Jonah
nothing that I
Hill
read.
makes me think that he won't allow. Like I've never seen him in anything super schmaltzy. You know what I mean? Have I? I feel like people would be on guard with Jonah Hill around because he's.
Interesting. You think Jonah Hill is going to keep Eddie Murphy on track?
I feel like he'll at least bring that vibe to his scenes that won't allow it to go too far. Has he been? Forgive me. Am I forgetting something really awful and schmaltzy that he was in?
I can't think of anything.
I don't think so.
Right?
And yeah, and I know Eddie Murphy's hard because you can have like the crazy weirdo movies he does, but then he can be really good. I loved him in Nutty Professor. I know that's an older movie. I thought he should have won an Oscar for it. Like Professor Clump is one of my all-time favorite characters. He just was extremely heartwarming to me. He was great in Dreamgirls. He really does wonderful work when he has good material. Even does wonderful work when he has cruddy material.
He's great in Bowfinger.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Fantastic in Beverly Hills Cop 4. We all love
I haven't
that.
seen that. While there is a world where this is a good movie, I don't have a lot of interest inherently, so I sadly have to red light.
Red light. Okay. All right.
I'm worried about some of the language because it's trying to be like, this is what we're going through right now, guys. There's a lot of generational issues, and we're all the same, but we're all different too. And you know what I mean? Like, doesn't
Feels
it
like you're
seem a
bringing
little
your own thing-
sanctimonious?
Your own thing into here.
Well, I mean, it feels sanctimonious.
Could be.
It is my own thing. It's always my own thing, Barbara. But I think Jonah Hill's going to save it. I'm greening.
Wow.
Yeah.
What's
all
the title
right.
again? What's the title?
You people.
You fucking people.
You ready
Well,
for my next?
that's a play on the subtle racism.
Yeah, I get it, Brian. And the director, Kenya,
Barris?
he's
a TV
responsible
director.
for
Yeah,
Blackish.
TV on
I like
Blackish,
that
and then-
Blackish. I like that Blackish. There's some real sharp, witty stuff in there.
That's the writer.
It's a good point.
All right. Ready for my next one?
Please.
It's called Wake Up Australia. It comes out in the fall of 2023. It's the directorial debut by Margot Robbie, and
Oh,
it's
fuck you.
produced. No.
joking, I'm
Okay, and it's produced by her production company.
Interested?
So, co-hosts of the third most popular Australian morning show, Chris Hemsworth and Tom Hardy, they're suave best friends on screen. They're crash and competitive off. They're married to, respectively, Margot Robbie and Zazie Beetz, and they find out
Zazzy.
through an on-air DNA test that Tom Hardy fathered both his child and Chris Hemsworth's
This
child.
is uncomfortable.
Makes the show the most popular show in Australia, and neither feel they can walk away.
Brian, what do you think I'm going to say right now?
I can see
wanna
going out
see
the way.
if you have any idea of who I am as a human being. A friend, a co-host. Do you have any clue who I am?
Well, the only reason, without any names attached, I can't see you even making it through the pitch. However, Tom Hardy's in this.
All the more reason, Brian. You don't know me.
Oh, because you don't want to see Tom Hardy sullied like this?
That's right, Brian.
I'm green.
Green, yay. What do you think, Anderson?
Absolutely not. Florence, I'm sorry, but no.
Why do you hate Australia?
Why?
No.
It sounds really cute.
I don't need Tom Hardy to be cute anytime soon. What was that war? It sounds like a remake of the war movie that he was in.
With Reese Witherspoon?
This is war.
This is war. I can't even find it. I think he's had it removed from his IMDb page.
I walked in on, ashamed to say this, I walked in on my wife watching that movie.
What movie was she reacting
and she
to
was
it?
laughing. This is a hard time. I never saw those words publicly.
It's so
I
funny.
never saw those words out loud.
He's my favorite actor, and there's movies he's in that I just won't see. It's so strange. I've never been there with an actor before where I love them that much, but I won't watch. I can't find the war movie.
Do you think it's time to lighten up Tom Hardy a little bit?
He's been doing that on and off, and we don't need it. Oh yeah, War Party. What's the name of this one?
This is called Wake Up Australia.
Wake Up Australia. I mean, it might be cute, but a lot of people can play cute, and that aren't my boy Tom. I'm telling you guys, he was in the war movie's not on his IMDb list. This is War is not on here.
Really?
Yeah.
Does it have a different title?
It was like, I don't know, 06, 07, around there.
It's not on here,
The other
guys.
actor is another
it's Chris
handsome
Pine.
guy. Is it Chris Pine? Okay.
I'm pretty sure.
I never saw that movie, so.
And Reese.
Wait, what's that one? This Means War? Is that it?
Where?
Oh, this
Like
means war?
two lines down. Is it that one?
Oh yeah. That's
Oh, did I get it wrong?
It's all right. I did a search for War and I couldn't find it because I'm really bad at reading. He played Tuck. I mean, it's a movie I will never ever see.
It is Chris Pine, right?
It is, yes.
Oh, by the way, okay.
And like they're
That doesn't seem like the same movie, though. This seems different.
I mean, it seems a little similar with her in the middle and the two guys on either side vying for there's a little more with the sample and the impregnation.
you did a lot of
So-
pointing.
I mean, I'm trying to with the
Green for me.
Maury Povich.
Green
I
for
would like to see
Ryan.
this.
Okay.
No, I mean, think of the movie he could be making if he wasn't doing this. You know what I mean?
Just imagine a movie.
That it could be not this. You know what I mean? Like, it could be in so many things that aren't this. Right?
Almost anything isn't this.
I think you're trying too hard to talk yourself into a red light when you really want to.
No, I love Tom Hardy. I don't know if he has the comedic chops. That worries me.
It's
Like
hilarious.
he's not though.
He is though.
Venom, like he needs to be funny, and he's just not funny.
He's funny in Legend, and he's funny in
amusing.
Bronson.
He's funny in Locke.
I don't think he is.
All right. Yeah, I'm sorry. I can't. I just
All
can't.
right.
She's distressed.
Okay, I have a confession.
Oh, it's not a real movie.
I made up this
Look
movie.
at it. You see that?
Ah,
Okay.
brutal.
I did
Do I-
this
does my-
because
It's actually a really, really good premise.
you
it
got
really is.
it's based on the joke that Anderson fathered both Tessa and Atticus. So I
my
changed
God,
it a
you know
little
his
bit so I was hoping you wouldn't guess. And then when you guys first started joking about that,
Who's joking?
my thought was, but Tessa looks so much like Brian.
you.
And then I thought, but she doesn't not look like Anderson.
Oh.
And then I laughed and thought of this premise. So
Yeah, she's got the fair
now do you
skin.
greenlight it?
Yeah, I agree. Like,
Okay.
I like the premise. The premise was good. If you didn't put Tom Hardy in there, if you put,
I was only concerned about how's he gonna do the accent.
Isn't he Australian?
No, he's like Welsh.
Is he? Oh, okay. I
pull off
screwed
any
that up.
accent. What are you talking about? The man is a phenomenal actor who will win many awards before.
And I guess
He's
he
a
could,
modern day Marlon Brando.
he could be on an Australian morning show and be whatever,
Yeah.
be from
I mean,
wherever.
of course, he was Mad Max. So I
he'd
guess
be
it-
like the sports
I guess
guy or
it's
something.
already been
Yeah.
done. There he is.
All right, so 2 green lights. I'm feeling like on my fake movie.
Yes, I greenlight now that you say that it's a fake.
He was
I
born-
did like the creativity behind it.
totally wrong. He's born in London.
You know what? I thought you guys were going to get me this time. I thought you were going to figure it out.
UK. I knew he's UK.
UK.
London, huh? Right.
Hammersmith.
All right. Yay. My next movie is Next Goal Wins. It's completed and it's directed by, and I cannot say his name.
Try.
Taika
Waititi.
Okay.
Waititi.
Of course, Thor Ragnarok, Jojo Rabbit. And this follows the infamously terrible American Samoa soccer team known for a brutal 2001 match where they lost 31-0. And it is expected April 2023. It stars Elizabeth Moss, Michael Fassbender, Will Arnett, Rhys Darby.
I think this came up in my fall research as well. Like I was hoping for a 2022 release on this one. I think, yeah, I greenlight this. This sounds fantastic, even though it's based on something that the story that's already been told because it happened.
Anderson getting punchy. Yeah, I'm greening. I'm interested in this.
Okay, good. All right. The last one is It's All Coming Back to Me. It comes out in 2023. It's comedy, drama, romance. A young woman tries to ease the pain of her fiance's death by sending romantic texts to his old cell phone number
fun.
and forms a connection with the man the number has been reassigned to. Jim Strauss is the director. He's directed movies I've never heard of. And stars I've really never heard of. Sam Hagen, Lydia West. I've heard of this next woman, Priyanka Chopra Jonas, and Russell Tovev.
Yeah, I it sounds very, very
Very high concept.
sad and
Sort of like, what's that Sandra Bullock movie where she sent letters?
the house.
Lake House?
Lake House.
It kind of sounds like the same movie now. Now that you're saying that.
It sounds like a lot of talking and a lot of just
A lot of reading,
drama.
a lot of text on screen.
Yeah, text on and just quiet moments and just
It's based on a book. Yeah, probably.
I don't know. It didn't say.
it makes me tired thinking about it. Therefore, I could see like an older woman liking this movie, like a really old lady, maybe thinking that's sweet. Like maybe right after she watched Remains of the Day, she'll like dip into this one. You know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean. Remains of the Day, timely reference.
Like an Ivory Merchant movie. Like it just seems tired, quiet. There's an audience for it. They're just dying. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, literally.
Maybe this is a movie that would be better as horror.
Oh
Yeah,
ooh.
I can see that. Yeah,
Well put.
yeah. He
If
like
it was
lulls
horror-
her in.
If it was horror, I think I'm green. As it stands, I gotta go red on this one.
I actually called a number once on New Year's Eve, and it turned out to be the wrong number. But I started talking to the girl, and like we talked for like 6 months.
Nice.
But it wasn't like a sad
amazing.
thing where like she was like, it was my old girlfriend's number, but it was weird. I never met her though. Never met her in person.
Oh, sad.
Jordan was her name.
Oh,
So, green light?
let's please
Since you
welcome to
lived
the
here.
studio, Jordan.
I literally said red like a number of times.
That was a nice move there, though.
Thanks. I tried.
You did.
I really tried.
Does that ever work in court?
I was gonna say, so Judge, you said not guilty?
Yeah, Jedi mind trick. The judge.
Guilty, not guilty. What?
Sometimes it helps if you re-argue it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, is that all for
That's
the
it
romantic,
for that
lovely,
one. Yes.
How nice. Thank you, Florence, for coming by to see us, give us some movies. Appreciate you, as always. Please come by again soon.
I will.
Excellent. Perfect. And for now, back to the show.
All right. Well, Florence, thank you, Florence, for being on the show. That
Of
was
course.
fantastic. Thank you for being on the red light, green light section from the hospital, from Brian's hospital bed. That was very nice of you to do so. Weird that he didn't even bring up his condition or anything, right? That was kind
I
of
know. He doesn't really sound sick.
no. And it was rude of us not to ask him how he's doing. But what can you do? What can you do? So, hey, really, really good to see you. Thanks again for doing this. And I'm excited to talk to you more about Barbarian right now for our spoiler discussions. I think this is the first time I've done a spoiler with anyone who's not Brian. Might have done one.
No, the three of us did Scream.
Okay, but without Brian present.
Oh, without Brian. Oh, yeah. I'm the
Well,
first.
nice. Yeah, I'm excited to talk about that ending, which we both line up on as to not liking it, but at least we can talk more freely, especially about some of the comedy that Justin Long's segment brings, which we didn't get to at all. So cool. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in, and for the show will be back to some semblance of normalcy. But I'm sure some of you actually enjoy this version better because Florence, more and more Florence. That's all I hear. Florence is more people saying Florence, Florence, more Florence is.
Oh, thank you.
Florence Bruemmer Law is where you can find all things Florence. I always, if I think to, I always put the link in the show notes, as well as many other things, fun things you can find in the show notes. You just swipe up on your phone from where this app is playing this particular episode right now, and I have a lot of show notes down there. So thank you very much for tuning in, and we do it for Van Gogh.